Okay.
Welcome back to the Global Cash Summit Speaker Spotlight Series. Today, I have the immense privilege of interviewing a leader whose work has reshaped the global landscape of executive coaching and measurable leadership transformation. Our guest, Will Linssen, is recognized as the #1 leadership coach by Global Gurus, a top executive coaching voice on LinkedIn, a Master Certified Coach with the ICF, a best-selling author, and an advisor at Harvard Business Review. As the CEO of Global Coach Group, he has pioneered one of the world's most effective and measurable leadership coaching systems, a methodology with a documented 95% success rate in demonstrated leadership improvement. Over the course of his career, Will and Global Coach Group have coached over 100,000 leaders across the US, Europe, Asia, and Australasia. His work sits at the intersection of behavioral psychology, leadership performance, and organizational change, helping leaders become more effective, teams become more aligned, and organizations achieve what Will calls the triple win: better leaders, better teams, better business results. What I admire most about Will's work really is this: he does not deal in abstract leadership theories. His systems create measurable transformation, the kind of leadership change that moves companies, cultures, and bottom lines. And that is exactly why he is here on this stage. Will, it is an absolute honor to have you with us today. Let's dive in.
Let's do that. Thank you for having me.
Let's begin at the beginning. In Global Coach Group, you've coached over 100,000 leaders. What originally drew you into leadership development, and what moment made you realize you were meant to do this work at a global scale?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So in my corporate career, I've been kind of CEO and regional manager of a number of businesses in Asia and Europe. And early on, I really noted as a leader, what you're doing is you're helping your leaders and their teams to be more effective in working with each other and working across the organization and partnering with people outside the organization. So as a leader, you're really in the people business. So even though I was running companies in pharma or chemicals or pharmaceuticals or plastics, very clearly you realize, yeah, this is actually much more of a people business rather than the material business that you're in. And when I was doing my MBA early this century in IMD, I also had the privilege to be involved with companies like GE and Microsoft and HP, and they really had a great handle on how to kind of manufacture leaders. That was one of the great quotes from Jack Welch that time, and saying, GE is a great company because we know how to manufacture leaders at scale, and then you can run any business successfully. And I thought, yeah, that's really what it is, right? As a leader in the organization, you are there to help leaders to grow and develop and be better with their teams. So myself and my manager and a number of people in our organization, where I was responsible for, but also in other parts of our organization, people had coaches. But if you look at then the impact of that coaching on actual leadership impact and success, that was very minimal. I mean, people felt good about the coaching that they had, but you didn't really see that impact on the team or on the results. So of course, then that's a little of a head scratcher, right? Where you think, well, we're spending a lot of money on all that. And the point of the coaching is to create that impact, but it's not being recognized. It's not felt, it's not seen, it's not measured. So yeah, at a certain point, I thought, yeah, this is a great kind of gap in that service proposition. That's a gap in the market. And I thought, yeah, if you're really passionate about developing leaders, then you don't need to be in the chemical industry for that. You need to be in the people industry for that. So I just made that jump, and I already did some coach training as a leader and got certified as a coach as a leader and used that in our organization. And at a certain point, I thought, yeah, this is a great next step in my transition to just do that. And I did that early this century, to be exact, and just never looked back. And that's how it kind of came about. And yeah, the global scale, the problem of leadership is a global issue. That was then the case. That was before before the 2000s that was the case, and it's even more the case nowadays, as we can see it on the news every day. So that's how I got into it, and that's how I also realized, yeah, this is a global, scalable service and solution.
I love that you saw a need and you filled it. Just as simple as that. There was something that needed to be fixed, and you had the knowledge and the wisdom to do that, and so you filled that spot. So before we dive into the triple win leadership model, I want to ask this. Your framework has become a benchmark for measurable leadership improvement. What gap did you see that this you saw this gap that we just described, but how did you design this model to solve that problem?
Yeah, that was actually very straightforward. Conventional coaching that we all know focuses on awareness, acceptance, and action. And as we now know, if you just do that, then if you ask coworkers after a year what they see, how satisfied they are with the improvement that the leader has made as a result of the coaching, there's only an 18% success rate, 1/8. That basically means 1 out of 5 coworkers are saying, yeah, the leader improved and I'm satisfied with that improvement. And that is a very disappointing success rate, right? Because that's not the point of the coaching, and leadership is about making an impact. And if you're, as a leader, kind of make a better impact, then that is not a good service proposition. So very quickly, I kind of noticed or determined, well, you need to go to the next level. You need to go to achievement. So you have to go from awareness to acceptance to action and then to achievement. And achievement is that you can measure that improvement has been there. And at the end of the day, that improvement needs to be to the satisfaction of the coworkers that the leader is working with. That's the manager, that's the direct reports, and maybe a number of peers. And at the end of the day, they decide whether a leader is effective, right? Leadership is not about the leader. Leadership is about the people that are being led. So their voice determines whether that leader is the right leader and a good leader. So yeah, we just basically looked at this. Yeah, we need to do the next step, achievement. So what does it take to get there? How do you measure that? And then we literally reverse engineered that success. And yeah, also there were a lot of good people out there who already were doing things in that arena. So there are a lot of great leaders and coaches already out there who are knowledgeable in that field as well. So I had the pleasure to work with people like Marshall Goldsmith and Daniel Goleman, Stephen Covey. And yeah, these were great people at that time. At the same time, they were still focusing on how to get the leader better. And we always said leadership improvement must have an impact on the team. And of course, clients ask that same question too. What's the impact on the team? How does it impact results? At the end of the day, that's all what counts. So we just started measuring that and say, hey, let's measure how leaders get better, how teams get better, how results get better. And as we get more data, we also understand what the challenges are, and then you basically reverse engineer success. That's and we looked at other processes and principles that companies are using, whether it's Agile or Six Sigma or supply chain management, where companies are used to engineer forward and reverse engineer success in quality or productivity or efficiency. And that had actually 2 advantages. One is we could borrow from those ideas and transfer that into coaching and make it successful there. And then the added advantage is that companies say and see that, oh yeah, that makes sense, because we do the same thing in quality management, we do the same thing in supply chain management, we do the same thing in service management and in product development. So it only makes sense that you do that in coaching too, because it's all about working with people.
Of
So
course.
you also get immediate acceptance of the approach.
So for those who are new to your work, what exactly is triple win leadership, and what makes this approach so effective across cultures, industries, and organizational sizes?
Yeah. So triple win leadership literally means through coaching, through leadership, improve the leader, improve the team, improve the results. That's why we say triple win leadership, better leaders, better teams, better results, 95% success rate. Now, how does it work and how do we get to that success rate, it's important for the leader to pick one or two areas that they want to work on that's important to them and to their coworkers. And as coworkers get involved, then people also voice their view on how it works for them. And as you do that, you get an autocorrect for culture, because everybody has the opportunity to voice their opinion. And of course, in our world of diversity, which is not just culture, but also many other things in terms of neurodiversity or personality or industry or kind of people's personality or way of work. So everybody can use their angle of diversity, voice their suggestions and their ideas, and then the leader can bolt that all together into an action plan, how they see that fit. And then you have something that the leader is working on that everybody is excited about. Everybody can put in their ideas and their voice. And then you get an action plan where also then coworkers are getting involved, so that everybody is kind of pulling the weight together to make that happen. And then on a quarterly basis, we measure how the leader is getting better, how the teams are getting better, and how results are getting better. And over time, in this case, 6, 9, or 12 months, we get to a 95% success rate that coworkers are satisfied how the leader got better, how the team got better, and also how results got better. So we have that 95% success rate on all three at the same time.
Love that. Love that. So you emphasize measurable leadership improvements. So something many leaders really aspire to, but few actually achieve. So from your experience, what really makes measurable change possible? And what are the biggest misconceptions leaders have about personal transformation?
Yeah, so shall I explain a little bit kind of how the methodology works? Because all these things kind of sit in there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So it starts with the leader to choose 2 areas of development where they feel like that they are excited about the change that is important to them, but also that is important to their coworkers. And we do that based on some feedback. And let's say the leader focuses on more empowerment and better execution. Then from there, we make a business case that the leader realizes, yeah, this is important to me, this is important to my coworkers, I can see how it impacts the business. So I have that triple win business case where they can see where all these benefits are cascading from them to the team to the results. And then from there, ask people for suggestions, integrate that in an action plan together with the coach, and then start implementing. And as you implement that action plan, obviously together with your coworkers, then everybody gets involved. Everybody then also puts in their best foot forward to make that happen. And as actually coworkers actually get involved, they also become accountable. They realize, yeah, this whole leadership change or leadership as such is not about me, it's about we, it's about us. Yeah. And it wouldn't make sense if only the leader gets better as a leader, because then we're missing the point of leadership. We as a team also need to get better. So let's embrace and inherit and take some of the improvement that the leader is doing and also implement that for us and as an individual, but also with my team that I'm working with. So then you get that cascading effect. And when you then ask people on a quarterly basis, how satisfied are you with the leader getting better? And how satisfied are you with the team getting better? And how satisfied are you with the results getting better? And ask people for some qualitative input on that too, then people start to reflect on that and start to be more noticing and perceptive to change, but also people become more accountable to change and realize, yeah, I need to also put in my effort in that more and better. And then you go from a process where people not just start doing things in a more effective way together, but it also starts to be built into the culture, built in their way of operating together. And that's exactly what you want, right? You want to make sure that this is anchored in the culture over time. And that's how we get to that 95% success rate, to make sure that everybody is on board and everybody is pushing in the same direction.
So let's talk about this methodology with this 95% success rate, which is extraordinary in this field. Can you walk us through the core behaviors or the principles that consistently create those most significant breakthroughs?
Yeah, so what we actually did based on the 100,000 leaders that we coach, we looked at the first the top 100 most frequently selected development areas, which is basically what are the top 100 problems of leadership around the world. And then from there, actually, we distilled that down to the top 10. And remarkably, it's like, this is interesting, but also it's not so uncommon that all the problems that leaders have around the world are pretty much the same problems. It's all about thinking strategically. It's about executive presence. It's about decision-making, empowerment, execution, conflict management. So it's all these aspects that people are challenged with. And of course, the way that is being seen in terms of behavior might differ in different cultures or in different geographies or different industries. But the themes that people come up with are consistently the same top 10 across the world, which is great because that means that people have more in common than our passports divide us. And it's also great that as a coach, you can kind of focus and specialize in a number of specific areas to develop for leaders, which has a wide applicability across cultures, across industries, different levels in the organization, across geographies, small companies, big companies, projects, management type of approaches, the same thing. As long as people are involved, it's a recurring theme.
So one of the themes of the Global Cash Summit is that leadership directly drives cash flow. So from your vantage point, working across these global organizations, what are the top leadership behaviors that either accelerate or block revenue?
Mm-hmm. So what we actually do, and I'll give you an answer, and then you can redirect it based on your question if you prefer. But what we actually do is we sit together with the client and say, what is the number that you want to change, right? So look at your P&L, look at your balance sheet. Yeah? What is the number that you want to change? Do we have a revenue challenge? Is it a profit challenge? Is it a cost challenge, right? Is it about cash, right? So was it free cash flow? Whatever you want to change. So pick a number, right? Because people most time have a business problem, which then translates into a leadership problem. So we ask them to pick a number, right? So maybe they say, revenue, and I'm happy to provide you later with some examples around that too. So let's say we want to expand our revenue, and then I'll just give you an example right now. Is that one of the clients is like, we want to double our revenue in the next 18 months because our market share in this particular geography is nice. But we really need to make a big punch. Elsewhere, we're going to lose market share, and there's going to be really too many other entrenched competitors, and it's going to be an uphill battle. So we want to make that real big punch in the next 18 months, and we need to invest whatever it costs. Yeah? So we said, okay, then if that's what you want to do, then what are leaders currently doing or not doing that are hindering that? So people talk through that, right? And this is things like better conflict management, better communication. People need to be more collaborative across the supply chain. We need to have better collaboration with our international partners so that we get our products in time and redesigned on time, and new products launched faster in the market. So we have a whole list of behaviors that they understand are blocking the fact that they can't do that expansion. Yeah? And then from there, we look at, okay, from all these things that you mentioned, what are the two most important challenges, right? This particular customer is like, when I think about that and the way we talk about it now, it's like, this is all about if we collaborate better across the supply chain, because we have in our executive team, everybody is a functional head of something: sales, marketing, R&D, product development, production, supply chain as such. Then that's where things get stuck. That's where we have all the discussions. If we get that better under control, then everything moves more smooth, everything moves faster, we work better, we increase our revenue faster. That must be the solution. So we literally took that leadership development area for all the people that do sort of a group of 15 people that we coached for that company. So the CEO and the 14 functional heads, including HR. And so everybody was focusing on better collaboration across the supply chain. And everybody also selected their own development area based on some 360 feedback that we did, because everybody has also some challenges inside their own functional organization.
Of course.
Yeah. And then we then connected this to measurement pieces. So in this case, this was SKU units per month, what they're selling now versus next month. We had some monthly measurements on that. And on a quarterly measurement, we were measuring how people got better at these two development areas for themselves. So everybody was measured on how do I get better at collaboration across functions? How do I get better on execution if that was their second development area, measured by their peers in the executive team, by the people who are directly reporting to them, and by their manager. And then you have a systematic improvement approach where everybody in the team is working on, and then it's very difficult not to get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Many entrepreneurs and executives who are watching this are in a season of overwhelm, plateau or stalled momentum. So when someone wants to move their business forward faster, what is the first leadership shift that they should make?
Yeah, so what they should focus on is really on realizing that coaching is not something you do on the sideline of work. Coaching and leadership development, or develop as a leader, should be integrated in the flow of work. It shouldn't cost extra time. When we work with leaders, we literally tell them, this is going to cost you 10 minutes a day, and on a monthly basis, that is less than 2% of your work time. So would you want to invest, going back to the example that I just mentioned, do you want to invest 2% of your work time to basically double your revenue in the next 18 months? Yeah. And if we ask the CEO or anybody in the company around these kind of return on investment ideas, they're saying, yeah, of course, that sounds like a great investment, right? And that is exactly the point. So you can do it with 10 minutes a day, delivered in a flow of work, less than 2% of your time. And then, so the other piece that is, you need to make sure that you focus on something that's important to you and to your coworkers, and then get them involved. Yeah? So it's 10 minutes of your time. It's 5 minutes per month of the coworker to invest their time. And that's creates a co-creation of change, because leadership, by definition, is co-creating change with coworkers. Mm-hmm. And then the overwhelm for the leader also dissipates, because the implementation of that leadership change is done to a large extent by the coworkers.
Right.
If I focus on empowerment and execution, then guess who's going to be empowered, right? And guess who's going to do the execution? It's not the leader. It's, of course, the coworkers. So as a leader, you need to realize that you shouldn't be the hero in this process. You should make them the hero in the process of leadership, and help them to be more empowered and more focused on what needs to change. And then everything starts to flow.
Excellent.
So that means you don't have to do that. There's no extra time involved, really.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've coached across Fortune 500, global organizations, scaling companies, and entrepreneurial ventures. Without naming names, can you share a story where a single leadership shift created measurable business outcome?
Yeah, so one great example is I was coaching the fast-moving consumer goods CEO. He was running a regional organization, and they had some really big challenges in their executive team and in the business altogether. And he focused on two things: collaborative execution and coaching to reach performance and growth. So personal growth and performance. That were the two things he was focusing on. Based on some assessments and feedback that we did, that's what he chose, important to him and to his team. We got to work. Everybody provided their input. Within 6 weeks, he saw already measurable shift inside his team on how things were moving. Within a year, they had tremendous improvement in the whole business as such, tremendous improvement in engagement of their team. And the CFO, who was initially very skeptical on the whole idea of coaching. So the CEO asked him at a certain point, say, hey, Bob, can you kind of look at some of the numbers? And the money that we spent on the coaching, which was quite significant, because I was coaching the CEO and a few other people in his executive team. And what did we get out of this, right? So look at cost, look at revenue, look at profit, look at engagement figures, whatever numbers you think are relevant. And then the CEO came back, the CFO came back, and then later on the CEO presented that to me. He says, yeah, well, we made more than 100 times return of impact from the coaching. And that was just amazing. He says, after 6 weeks, I could see how we were running in the right direction. And to have anything with a payback time of less than 6 weeks, of course, is already a miracle. And to just have a return on investment of more than 100 times within 12 months, that is one of the best investments we ever made. Mm-hmm. And then you talk, of course, millions and millions of returns that people then make as an organization. So yeah, that was fantastic. That was a great story. We actually have that whole case documented that people actually even can download from from one of the e-learnings that we're going to share with people. So yeah, that's just one of the great stories.
So exciting. Okay, and in your opinion, what is the biggest blind spot that most leaders don't even realize that they have? And how does it impact their teams and results?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges that leaders have is the trust that they don't feel they can provide that empowerment, delegation, or collaboration or conflict management with others. That trust is very much related to control and loss of control, and there's a lot of hesitation and anxiety right there. And if people realize that there are different ways to stay in control by giving some more trust to people and let go of some of the things that they're now in control, then they free them up themselves, get out of the details, understand the bigger picture, and free up the time to kind of create process and to create better follow through rather than more kind of planning and action in the beginning.
If you could give every leader listening today a simple tool or a single question that would immediately improve their effectiveness, what would it be and why does it work so well?
Yeah, I mean, what they actually should do is very simple. Ask everybody in your team, what do you think that I could improve that will help you? So that's the question, right? What do you think that I could improve that would help you? So you ask that to everybody and then pick one thing that you feel like, yeah, that sounds like worthwhile to work on. Good for me, good for them. So pick that, and then tell people, hey, I want to get better at delegation or whatever they picked. Ask people for some suggestions. Give me 2 suggestions. Take that back. Thank you very much. Take that back, make an action plan, and then just start implementing. So make the action plan, share your action plan, implement it together with your team, and then every month see how you're getting better and be consistent about it. And just do that for 6 months to a year, and you will see there are results. It is undeniable. You will get results.
Let's talk about that speed of transformation, because you've mentioned it before. For leaders who want to improve quickly, what does that first 90 days of transformation typically look like? And what separates those who succeed from those who slip back into old patterns?
So we actually divide that whole transformation process into kind of 4 stages. And we call that know it, show it, grow it, and own it. So know it is like the first 3 months, you can understand, what do I need to change? What's my business case for that? What is my action plan for change? How do I get started? So within 3 months, you can do all that, including all the feedback. And then you know what you need to change, and you also kind of know how you would want to change that. But that is just intent. That is not impact yet. So from there, the 3 months after that is showing how that change looks like. So that's about disciplined implementation of your action plan, involve coworkers for some suggestions, adapt the action plan, get them involved. And now after 6 months, coworkers are saying, yeah, I see that you're getting better at this. You did it a number of times, and I like what I see. But you know what? I need to see it kind of more often and better so that we can know it's here to stay and that we can also feel the impact over time. And that's in the next 3 months happens. We call that grow it. Yeah? So then the leader gets better at this, coworkers get more involved, coworkers start to adapt their way of working as well because they kind of like what they see and they see the effectiveness of it. Some of it, of course, they are pushed in a new direction because empowerment execution also means that coworkers need to actually do other things better, faster, which they basically also ask for. And then after 9 months, coworkers are saying, yeah, this is really cool. I see that this habit is formed. We have this new approach in our work. I'm starting to get better at this. And I'm trying to kind of also put that into my team. So that cascading, that growing is now taking hold. And then from there, in the next 3 months, it's own it. So now you get that refinement of the process inside the organization. Everybody is doing it. It starts to get anchored into the culture of the team. And now you really have it kind of sedimented and there, and it's sticky. And that's, at that point, you're at 95% success. So after 6 months, 63% satisfaction of coworkers in how the leader has improved. After 9 months, so after grow it, it's 76%. And after 12 months, it's 95%. It's a very clear statistic how time is important and how consistency of doing it is necessary for coworkers to see it and believe it and trust it that it's here to stay.
Now, you'll be delivering both a VIP training and a post-summit masterclass for our audience. What can attendees expect as they go deeper with you, and who will benefit the most from your triple win leadership system?
So let's start with who benefits most. This is made for people who are leading teams. So it can be an executive team, it can be a project team, right? It can be a functional team inside an organization. It can be a startup, right? It can be a scale up. That can be a middle-sized or a very large organization. But you need to be working with people, either in a directional sense, right? It's a functional team where you have direct reports and a manager, or a project team where you're working with people more on an influence basis rather than on a functional responsibility. So what people will get out of it, I will provide them with a template on how they can get started in doing this. Yeah? And if they need more help, I'll provide them with some directions through our e-learning that people can have access to, so that they can also get some of the resources there so that they can get started.
Now, you've coached leaders who have gone on to transform entire organizations and even industries. So looking ahead, what is your vision for leadership in 2026 and beyond? And what role do you believe identity, behavior, and culture will play in shaping the future of business?
Yeah, at this moment, a very interesting trend obviously is happening with AI as an example. I mean, in the past, up to the recent past, or maybe 18 months ago, as a leader, if you're more experienced and you're more of a subject matter expert, yeah, and you're a senior, you have the upper hand in a lot of organizational problem discussions, because leadership is about solving problems at the end of the day. Yeah? But of course, now with young people and AI who have the time and also the knowledge to dive deep into subject matter issues, they actually can come up to senior leadership, which much better articulated problems and much better articulated solutions and scenarios than the leaders could think up themselves. So the challenge more than ever for leader moving forward is asking the right questions, and then from there facilitating the process of change and collaboration inside the organizations. One of the jokes that I always make when I'm coaching leaders and saying, the big problem in organizations is all the people that are involved. It would be so much easier to run an organization without people, because we had a lot less conflict and things, right? So as a leader, to facilitate how people work together, that is the key for leaders moving forward in the future. And AI is only going to accelerate that.
If there is one message that you want every leader listening today to take into the next season of their business, what would that be?
Change, it's important to make that change as a leader simple and easy. So don't overthink it, right? Pick one thing that you want to get better at that's important to you and your team. Everybody has a whole list of problems that they think that they should reshape and improve. Pick one. There's always one at the top of the list. If you're interested to have a discussion on that, I'm happy to do that, because people will see that one problem actually interrelates to all the other areas as well. So pick one thing that you want to get better at, and then ask people for suggestions and start implementing your action plan. Mm-hmm. So then it becomes simple. And when you involve coworkers, it becomes easy. And now you have simple and easy. And then with an agile improvement process, you basically create traction and momentum, very simple. And then you have a kind of a high velocity process of becoming better as a leader and also helping your team to get better as a leader. So Beautiful. The main message is don't overcomplicate it. Pick one thing and then start moving from there.
Will, thank you so much for the clarity, the rigor, and the depth you bring to the work. It is an honor to spotlight you and to bring your triple win leadership system to the Global Cash Summit community. So everyone, make sure that you are following for the sessions with Will and for the VIP training, because it's going to be extraordinary, and you too could increase your success rate by 95%. So that's very exciting. That's right. Thank you so much for being with us today, Will.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Okay, see you in the main stage.
You bet. All right. See you then.